Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. In today's video, we're going to be covering a quarterly theory concept known as the defining range, or the DFR. I haven't actually seen anyone speak about this concept, so this may be new to you guys. So if it is, or maybe you're not too familiar with it, then this video is going to be great to help you understand the concept of the defining range and what it is best used for, how you can catch trades with it, and how you can use it in confluence with potentially the model that you're already trading now, okay? So without wasting time, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. We've got a small little slideshow here, and then we'll go into the charts for some examples, okay? So defining range, DFR. What is it? How does it work, right? So the defining range, all you have to do is essentially split Q1 of any cycle into thirds, okay? So you can be trading any cycle, the weekly cycle, the daily cycle, the 90-minute cycle, the micro, monthly, any cycle, okay? And then what you're doing is you're looking at Q1 only of that cycle. And then, as you can see here, what we do is we ignore the first third of Q1. So we essentially divide Q1 into 3, okay? So if it's the daily cycle Q1, which is Asia range, it's 6 hours long for each quarter. So Q1 is 6 hours long. Divide that by 3, you get 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, okay? If, for example, you divide, the 90-minute quarter, Q1, into 3, you get 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, okay? And all we're doing is we're ignoring that first third. So if we're looking at the daily cycle, defining range, which is Asia range, Q1, divide it into 3, we get 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. So we ignore the first 2 hours. So Asia actually starts at 6 p.m., ends at midnight. So we look only from 8 p.m. till midnight, okay? And then once we've got that 8 p.m. till midnight, those final 2/3, we mark the highest high and the lowest low of the final 2/3, okay? So this right here is actually an example of Asia range here, okay? Q1, as you can see, one whole entire quarter, Q1 only right there. We ignore the first third, right? So this is the first 2 hours over here. And then we mark the highest high to the lowest low, or the lowest low to the highest high, doesn't really matter, of the final 2/3, okay? So we ignore the first 2 hours, and then the final 4 hours, mark out the very, very high, not any other high, the very, very high, and the very, very low. And then that is essentially our defining range, okay? So how can we now use this to help us with our trading? Well, we'll go into that now, okay? So what you want to do once you found out your defining range is you want to anchor a standard deviation to that defining range, okay? So now these are the settings that I like to use for my standard deviations. So feel free to screenshot this, pause the video, copy them to your charts. Pretty simple, pretty basic, from 0 all the way up to 2.5. We've got some negatives as well, like negative 2.5 to 2.5. Essentially, okay? Here's, the bottom settings, and this is what the standard deviation should look like once it has been created, okay? So once you've done that, you then want to anchor the standard deviation from that highest high to the lowest low, or the lowest low to the highest high, okay? Now, what do we do with these specific levels that we get from the standard deviation? Well, firstly, let's look into the manipulation levels, right? So the best manipulation takes place between 0 to 0.5. Generally speaking, anywhere between 0 to 1.5 is okay also. And if a cracking correlation aligns with the manipulation level, it makes the manipulation higher probability, okay? So as you can see, here is an example, the one that we, shown in the previous slide. This is the Asia range that we have marked out. We ignore the first third. We mark out our highest high to the lowest low. We pull that standard deviation. And as you can see, we have our manipulation take place between 0 to negative 0.5, okay? Remember, anywhere from 0 to negative 1.5 is generally okay as well, but the best one will occur sort of between that 0 to negative 0.5, right? And your manipulation, you kind of want to see a cracking correlation occur to be confident that that is your manipulation, right? So, and also as well, to make it higher probability, if that manipulation level aligns with liquidity, which it generally will, that Asia low essentially, if price takes out liquidity, then forms a cracking correlation between that 0 to negative 0.5 level, that is when the trade is going to be perfect, okay? So a cracking correlation can be anything such as a sequential SMT, a PSP, an SMT fill, and it can be on the higher time frame as well, okay? So you can mark the defining range for the 15-minute, which is the daily cycle, but if we, for example, get, a 1 hour SMT fill here, between that 0 to negative 0.5 of the defining range on the 15, then that is still completely okay. For me personally, if I was going to use the defining range, I would look for a sequential SMT between this specific level here, okay? But generally speaking, all the other cracks and correlations are okay as well, okay? So now once the manipulation has taken place, how can we then use the standard deviation levels to project our targets, and where can we expect the distribution to go, okay? Super simple. We have our distribution level, okay? So once the manipulation has formed, you can then target the distribution level. Price often expands to the 2 to 2.5 level. Even higher probability if the 2 to 2.5 level aligns with liquidity, okay? So like we mentioned earlier, if that manipulation level aligns with liquidity, price takes out a form of liquidity, then that's great, okay? That's even better. And same with the distribution level. If price can take out liquidity, even better. So say for example, we've got previous session highs up here, previous day's highs for example, and it aligns with that standard deviation level, then that's perfect, okay? So as you can see here, this is the same example from before. Manipulation takes place between 0 to negative 0.5, and once that manipulation has taken place, price then expands all the way between that 2 to 2.5 level, okay? And remember, it can come a little bit below it, it can go a little bit above it, doesn't really matter. These are just the general high probability levels, areas that you can see price trade to through obviously previous backtesting and many results from the past, okay? So that is essentially what the defining range is. Remember, you can use this on any cycle, so you can project your manipulation and you can project your distribution for that specific cycle. So once Q1 is opened, this is why people say Asia, Monday, they define the range, okay? So Monday sets the stage for the week, because you can use Monday's range to project these levels here, and then you can look for cracks and correlations that align with them, and the manipulation level, towards the distribution level, and then you can look to take those trades and be confident where price is going to go and where it's going to manipulate, okay? Remember, this isn't going to work 100% of the time. It can just be used as a confluence with your model that you've already got, or to help you set those targets if you are struggling with that as well. So yeah, with that being said, that's the slideshow over. So let's jump into the chart now and we'll dive into an example. All right, guys, so we're now on the charts. We're on the 5-minute time frame, which is for the 90-minute cycle. So what we're going to do is just go over a few examples, mark out our Q1, define a range, and just sort of see how things play out, okay? So first example that I found here, scrolling for a little bit, is this one here, okay? So you can see we have a 90-minute cycle, SSMT between Q1 and Q2, but if we just apply that defining range to that Q1 range, then it would make the setup a little bit higher probability, okay? So we have obviously 5-minute, this is a 90-minute cycle quarter, so it lasts for 90 minutes, right? So we ignore the first 30 minutes. So if this quarter starts at 6 p.m., we mark our range from 6:30 p.m. until, when does it end? 7:30 p.m., okay? So let's go ahead and find out. So that's 6:25, 6:30 is right there, okay? So mark the high, then mark the low of the quarter, which is right there, and then we're looking for price to, if bullish, manipulate between 0 to negative 1.5, ideally between 0 and negative 0.5, which in this case it does. It then forms that manipulation, that cracking correlation, as you can see marked out by my indicator. Indicators will be linked below in the description, by the way. I also have the indicator that marks out the defining range for you, so don't forget to check that out. That's in the quarterly theory toolkit one, okay? So SSMT right there, as you guys can see with YM, between 0 to negative 0.5, and then where do we distribute to? 2 to 2.5, and we want to be looking for those liquidity levels to line up with, the defining range levels. As you can see, a very nice obvious high there, aligning with this gap that hasn't been filled completely as well. And also if you zoom out to the 15 or the 1 hour, if it's a nice unfilled gap, for example, that can make it even higher probability, okay? Which I'm sure there was something there, to be honest. But yeah, as you can see, it delivers very nicely. Defining range 0 to 0.5, 90-minute cycle SMT delivered to 2 to 2.5, okay? Notice how the manipulation quarter, Q2, doesn't automatically deliver to 2 to 2.5 as well. So you can actually use this to capture the distribution, which happens the following quarter after, which is usually what happens, right? So, one quarter manipulates, Q2 manipulates, the following quarter distributes to the target, and that's when it does indeed then get hit that 2 to 2.5 level. We had actually hit the liquidity within Q4, so Q4 continuation after Q3 distributed, okay? So yeah, that is essentially how it works, guys. So hopefully you did find this video useful. If you did, and you're going to start applying this to your trading, I would like to, ask for a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Comment down below if you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions about it as well, let me know in the comments down below. Any other video ideas as well, let me know. I've got a link to apply for my mentorship in the description. to work with me one-to-one and understand these concepts a little bit better, apply them in real time with me, and go over it on one-to-one calls with me, and speak with other mentorship students who are hitting 250k funded, 500k funded, multiple payouts, etc., etc. Okay, links below for the indicators as well that marks out all of this stuff, all these concepts that I teach for you on your charts. And yeah, premium membership down below in the description, as well as my free Discord community and all of my other social medias. Appreciate you guys for watching, and good trading. Peace.